Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh. Today is Saturday, May 23rd. I hope everyone is having an amazing weekend so far. So in this video, I do have a lot of information to cover as far as the stimulus payments go for those on different Social Security benefits, such as survivors, retirement, and disability, as well as some updates for railroad retirees and veterans. Now, before I get into the updates for today, per usual, if you wouldn't mind giving this video a big like, a big thumbs up, it really just helps with the YouTube algorithm in terms of getting this video out to other viewers like you. In addition to that, also leave a comment in the comment section below, letting me and others know whether or not you've received your stimulus payment yet. It really just creates a good conversation and lets other people know that, hey, maybe I'm not the only one who hasn't received my stimulus payment yet. So in my previous video, I mentioned that some people were trying to reach out to that IRS hotline where you could actually call and speak with an IRS agent and perhaps gather a little bit more information as far as your stimulus payment goes, like when you're going to receive it, when you can expect to receive it. And some people called that number and they had a little bit of success. But since I posted that video, I noticed that there was an influx of comments of people that were having a lot of success with calling that number. So for example, I had Tracy and she commented in my previous video, I finally got through the IRS and got a live person. This is what you have to do. You call 1-800-829-1040, push option number 1 for English, then number 4 if you owe back taxes, then option number 3 to make arrangements to pay back taxes, then finally number 3 in order to get a real person. I got a payment direct deposit date of May 28th. I'm on Ssdi and received payment on Direct Express. So Tracy did call a little bit of a different number than what I recommended in my previous video, but it seemed that for her it actually worked where she was able to speak to a live person and she came away with a date. So all in all, it was a successful call. And then I also received a comment from Steven and he said, I actually just spoke with the IRS not even an hour ago, and the IRS told me that people on Ssdi will receive their payments on May 28th via direct deposit. So Steven was another success story. It sounds like he called the number that I did list in that video and he left the phone call with receiving a date of May 28th. He's on Ssdi. It doesn't mean that everyone on Ssdi will receive their stimulus payment on May 28th, but for him, he received his date on May 28th, and I'm sure many others on Ssdi will also receive their payment date on May 28th as well. Then I received another comment from LaChandra. She says, I am on SSI and SSD. I took a chance and called the IRS number for the stimulus check. My wait time was 2 hours, but I finally got through and they gave me a date of May 28th, so try calling. And wow, I really have to give props to LaChandra for waiting 2 full hours on hold. The patience that must take to wait on hold for 2 hours. But in that case, it seems that it was definitely worth it. She came away from that call with a payment date of May 28th. Then I had another comment. It was from Becky. She says, I was told June 8th by the IRS on Monday. I'm on Ssdi and SSI with a Direct Express card. So Becky is on Ssdi and she received a payment date of June 8th. So apparently everyone on Ssdi is not going to receive their payments on May 28th. There might be some payments on May 28th and then another batch going out June 8th as well. Then I had a comment from Dwayne. He says, I called the IRS and got through. It took over an hour for me to speak to someone, but I also got a June 8th date. So here's another example of Dwayne. He's receiving a June 8th date. So it sounds like people on SSI and Ssdi may be getting payouts on May 28th and then another payout going out on June 8th as well. I'm not sure if they're going to continue paying out past June 8th, but hopefully that will be the last batch and everyone that needs to get paid that's on a Social Security benefit will get paid on June 8th and no later than June 8th. Now, all in all, I wouldn't say that you have to call this number in order to receive a payment date. If you have the time, would it be worth it to call this number? Yeah, I would probably say so, but I would definitely be prepared to be on hold for maybe at least 1 hour. So if you have the time, I would say it's probably worth it. The number, once again, that you can call is 1-800-919-9835. Once again, this is not mandatory. I would say if you have the time, you can call it, but even if you don't call the number, you should still eventually receive a date through the Get My Payment portal. All right, so now I'm gonna move on to some of the questions that I received in my previous video. And the first question today is from Sissy. Sissy asks, I have a question for you. I do odd jobs. Am I still eligible for a check? And Ssdi, as long as you don't earn over $99,000 per year if you are single, and as long as you're not being claimed as a dependent on someone else's tax return, then yes, you would be eligible for a stimulus payment. Next question is from George. George says, "Good morning. My name is George, and I would like to know if we are getting a second stimulus check." All right, thank you so much for that question, George. So at the moment, no second stimulus has actually passed. There is currently a bill called the HEROES Act, which has recently passed the House of Representatives. And right now it's in the Senate where it's going to be voted on. However, it is pretty widely known that the Senate is going to strike this bill down. And at the moment, it's pretty much going to have to be the Democrats and the Republicans. They're going to have to negotiate what exactly is in the bill, because there's some things that the Democrats want to be in this bill that doesn't necessarily have to do with just the stimulus payment. So they're going to have to work it out, and the Democrats and the Republicans are going to have to work together to find out exactly what should be in this bill, and hopefully in the end they come out with something that works well for the American people. All right, moving right along to the next question. It says, "Hey Josh, my name is John. I am on Social Security retirement receiving through direct deposit, but I am living in a foreign country. The SSA has all of my information receiving my deposit in my bank account in the USA. Will I be receiving my stimulus?" All right, thank you so much for this question, John. So yes, even though you live in a foreign country at the moment, as long as you don't owe any type of child support that would offset the stimulus payment, and as long as you're not earning more than $99,000 per year or being claimed as a dependent on someone else's tax returns, then you would be eligible for this stimulus payment. What I would recommend for you to do is just to check the Get My Payment portal. And if it says payment status not available, that simply means they still do not have a date set up for you as far as a scheduled delivery date of your stimulus payment. But I would just keep checking that every single day, and eventually you will receive a date of when they're going to be scheduling your direct deposit. All right, moving right along to the next question is from Carlos. Carlos says, "Josh, I live in Atlanta and I still haven't received my stimulus check. I thought maybe it was because I'm a veteran, but I know a few people who aren't vets and they haven't received theirs. Then again, I was thinking maybe because I was a victim of identity theft. I tried calling the number the IRS has, but I still haven't had any luck." All right, thank you so much for that question, Carlos. And first off, I must say thank you very much for your service. I and many others are very appreciative of what you've done for our country. Secondly, with that number that I provided in my previous video with the IRS, there is a very, very long hold time, and some people didn't even end up having any success reaching an IRS agent. I would say at this time you're definitely eligible for the stimulus payment. And the question I would ask you is if you've been checking the Get My Payment portal recently. If you're still receiving that page that says payment status not available, that simply means they haven't yet scheduled a delivery date for you. So just keep checking that every single day, just once per day. And eventually you should receive a delivery date. They just recently started sending out these stimulus payments for veterans at mid-May, and they're sending them out every single week. So eventually you will definitely receive a date. Just hang in there and be patient, as hard as it can be. Like I said many times in my previous videos, if it were up to me, you guys would have definitely received your stimulus payments before anyone else. Okay, so the next question today is from Jerry. Jerry says, "Hi Josh, I got a payment date and received my letter, but I did not receive my stimulus payment. What steps should I take to find out where my check is?" All right, so in this case, you checked the Get My Payment portal and you saw they scheduled a delivery date. Since then, that delivery date has passed, you did not receive the payment, yet they're sending you a letter in the mail saying that they did send you the payment on that date. So obviously that can create a lot of confusion. Now, unfortunately, this has happened to quite a few people. And in these cases, what I actually end up seeing happening is people check the payment portal and they see that the IRS has scheduled a direct deposit date. And then that date comes and passes and they don't receive it. And then they'll check the payment portal a few weeks later, and then they'll see that the IRS has changed their method from a direct deposit to actually sending a check in the mail. So I'm thinking that's probably what's going to be happening in this case. For whatever reason, the bank rejected the payment, sent it back to the IRS, and now the IRS is having to reprocess that and actually send a check to you in the mail. So in the meantime, I would just be checking your mailbox and continue to check the Get My Payment portal. It should eventually update to where they're saying that they're going to be sending you a check in the mail instead. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the final comment of today, and this kind of goes along with the big update that I have in this video as far as representative payees go. And this comment is from Reaperman. Reaperman says, "I got my stimulus May 20th direct deposit. I am on SSI with a payee. I hope that helps." And that definitely helps a ton. In my previous videos, I've been mentioning that the ssa.gov website mention late May, which I thought would be May 27th, just because Wednesday happens to be sort of like the popular date for these payouts. But yet it seems that finally they're actually speeding these payments up. Usually they get pushed back, but now it seems like they're getting pushed forwards. So some people that are on SSI with a representative payee apparently ended up getting paid May 20th instead of May 27th or late May. Now on the SSA.gov website, they actually recently posted an update, and in this update it says that an individual representative payee should begin receiving EIPs on May 22nd to the same direct deposit account or direct express card as the recipient's monthly Social Security or SSI payment. The mailing of paper check EIPs to payees will begin May 27th. So obviously this is some very big news. So if you do have a representative payee, I would have expected to receive your payment yesterday on Friday, May 22nd. And if not, then it should be coming out, I would think, at some point next week. Now, if you're on a Social Security benefit with a representative payee, and the payee usually receives payment by check in the mail, then they did mention here once again that they're going to be sending out checks on May 27th. All right, so as far as expected payout dates, the IRS began sending out checks to Social Security survivors, retirement and disability, as well as railroad retirees at the beginning of May, and they're sending out these checks every single week. So if you're within that group and you haven't received your check yet, it does not mean that you're not eligible to receive the check, and they haven't forgotten about you. The IRS is just incredibly slow, so in the meantime, as hard as it is, we just have to remain patient and they'll eventually get to you. Just keep checking the Get My Payment portal. Something should eventually update. And if you do have the time, you could try reaching out to that IRS hotline that I mentioned earlier in the video, but that is not a necessity. Moving on to SSI. If you're on SSI, the IRS is sending out stimulus payments every single week. So if you're on SSI and you haven't received your stimulus payment yet, it doesn't mean that the IRS has forgotten about you. It doesn't mean that you're ineligible. You're definitely going to receive your stimulus payment eventually. Just keep checking the payment portal. You're going to receive payment status not available until you receive a date. And you could call the IRS hotline if you do have the time, but once again, that's not a necessity. Moving on to veterans. The IRS is sending out stimulus payments to veterans every single week. They have not forgotten about you guys. I know it's extremely frustrating having to wait this long. You guys should have been first in line, but they will eventually get these stimulus payments out to you. Just hope it's not too much longer. Hang in there, you'll eventually receive a date. All right, and on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. If you found this video to be helpful and you would like to see more videos like it, at the moment I am posting daily stimulus updates, so feel free to subscribe to my channel. Additionally, if you wouldn't mind liking this video, it just really helps with the YouTube algorithm in terms of getting this video out to other people like you. Share it if you have any social networks that really help spread the word and hopefully can help other people. And until next time, I'll see you guys, and I hope you have a great day today.